Hello guys, in this video we're going to be able to analyze a commercial item that deals with the theory of commodity fetishism that was wrote by Marx. But first of all, I'm going to talk about a little bit about Marx. Karl Marx was a German philosopher and revolutionary socialist that became a journalist, and due to his socialist writings, he was expelled from France and Germany and ended up living in London. He's known for his two most famous published works, the Communist Manifesto and Das Capital. In this video, we're going to analyze a specific series about fetishism through a commercial item. The commercial item is going to be analyzed by 4 key points. The first one, the value of an item is only based on money and others' point of view. The second one, the value of things is not in themselves. The third one, social interactions are based on exchanges, therefore on money. And the fourth one, the system of values is something I choose, I obey.
The product we have chosen to analyze is this pair of shoes, which is a collaboration between Nike and Off-White.
Key point number 1. The value of an object is only based on money and others' view. Marx explained that an item has value just because it's worth money and we can be able to exchange it. Nowadays, our way of valuing objects is only based on others' views and how much this item cost. These pair of shoes represent a younger lifestyle. 2 brands merge into one shoe. Nike, that has always been delivering the message of a younger lifestyle, and Off-White, that nowadays is a very known brand that gives a higher price to these shoes. This type of shoes normally are valued in 120 euros, but this one is around 1,000 euros. We choose this pair of shoes because it has a deeper meaning in terms of brands, and because the shoes represent Off-White, and this brand right now is one of the most famous and coolest brands for the younger market.
Our second key point is an explanation of the difference between objects and commodities according to Marx. What he explains is that an object has a value in itself, while a commodity has a value because of its relationship with other commodities. Taking the example of that pair of shoes again, back in the 90s, for instance, I would pay a higher price for shoes because I have a specific need. If I walk a lot, I would need a better quality for my shoes, but my sister that doesn't walk as much as I do would never think that my pair of shoes has a higher value because she would not use them as I do. My conception of value, therefore, comes from a direct relationship with the item, and the item has an inner value. While nowadays this conception of value had been completely transformed. As Emba explained, the value of this Nike pair of shoes mainly comes from the fact that it is a very well-positioned brand, and because of the collaboration with Off-White that promotes a very famous lifestyle. And that would explain the fact that a commodity has value because of its relationship with other commodities, because if suddenly Nike loses all its value and that the collaboration with Off-White is not seen anymore as something very cool, the pair of shoes would lose mainly all its value. Our third key point is an explanation of why this new conception of value has also transformed our social relationships. What Marx outlines is that a producer nowadays don't need to have direct social contacts before he trades. He can carry on his work independently and will only need others when he will trade. To explain why he believes that those relationships are indirect, he takes the example in the lecture of the production process in the Middle Ages. It was based on direct social relationships, firstly because it was involving payment in kinds and services in kinds, and above all because it was defined by self-dependency. If I was a farmer, for instance, I needed the baker to work because I needed to eat properly, and I also needed the law to do his work because I wanted to be protected. While nowadays, if I work for a company, I only need my boss because I'm trading my work for my income. So back in time, the groundwork of the production process was self-dependency and payment in kinds. and this is involving direct social relationships and is even driven by this. While nowadays our production process is based on money and the value of what we exchange, so our social relationships are always driven by a third party, which is money. That's why they are indirect. And also because when we trade, we don't even need to have direct contact, especially nowadays. And that would be another key point of Marx's theory of fetishism, because he explains that this fetishist relationship with goods, because of our conception of value, has also transformed our social relationships.
So Marx's fourth and last key point relies on the fact that our system of values is not something that we choose, but instead something that we obey to. This is because the value of a product is not related anymore to the actual use of a product, but instead it is predetermined by a system of value in society. We choose to obey a hierarchy of value which is installed by objects. So the whole concept here is the fact that we don't decide upon ourselves if something has more value or less value than something else, but instead it is a third party that decides it for us. So in this case, Off-White has added an extreme amount of value to the pair of shoes, which explains the exaggerated increase in price of the product. Nevertheless, it may seem exaggerated to me because I don't think that it adds as much value as the price represents, but for a third party who sees its value in a different way, so that actually adds more value, then it doesn't seem exaggerated at all. This is why Marx talks about fetishism as commodities are not necessarily very valuable for us or less valuable for us, but instead because our society and the hierarchy of values tells us so. This is why Marx associates to these products a magical power, as it makes us obey to that hierarchy even if we didn't personally choose how much we value that object or not, but instead it is dictated by third parties. To conclude with, we have answered the question by analysing our product based on the four main criteria points of Marx's theory of fetishism. And as you have seen, we can apply the four criteria points in this product. It can therefore be said that the value of an object is determined by the many forces that drive our society, which disconnect us from having any direct relationship with the product. Nevertheless, a lot of people may disagree with these points and with Marx's theory, and we want you guys to give us your opinions on this theory and let us know whether this criteria is the right way to judge our relationship with products and whether the magical power in these products is an actual thing or not.